Hello, and welcome to a new episode of VG Crafts. Today we are going to do something I wanted to do for a long time, and that is using this elder piece here, because I love how silly it is, with like the rider man sitting in there in the front, no cover whatsoever, just sitting there living life. And I was thinking of using him together with a bag.
Dear God.
No, I have 3D printed a Sentinel proxy, and the idea was to first have them fight against each other, but I thought that was a bit boring and could be cooler. So I was thinking about something cooler. I have also some leftover Tyranid bits that I bought some time ago, and I was thinking they formed an alliance for on the go and are now fighting together against the Tyranids. I was thinking of doing that on this round base here, that are like standing back to back on each other, shooting outwards to the surrounding Tyranids coming everywhere. And I think that could be a cool piece. I'm still a bit on what the scenery will be, but the idea I think is solid. I quickly wanted to talk about why I am doing this project now, because to be honest, I had this models flying around for like 1.5 years on my pile and in my moving boxes and everywhere, and why am I doing it now? It's like the idea came to me first like 1.5 years ago when a friend of mine was like, hey, do you want to buy this box? And I was like, yeah, why not? And then I saw like a video where I saw someone printing out the Sentinel, and I was like, oh, that's a cool model, I will print this as well. And then I thought like, oh, yeah, I can like fight them against each other. But the more I thought about it, the more it became boring. And then one day I just picked up the Tyranids, and then I just had the idea, so to let them fight against each other. I think it's sometimes a good thing to not realize projects instantly and let them wait a bit, like accumulate more things. Of course, those things are all like, my pile, my collection, if you want to say so. And they're taking, of course, space away, and not everyone has the graciousness of having so much space to keep a lot of things. But sometimes it's good to wait a bit for things to come and opportunities to arrive. One funny thing I found out that past me is a bit of an idiot. I printed the same leg piece twice, so I have now one with front-facing armor and one with back-facing one. Oh well, we roll with the punches. But I just snipped off like the knee pad armor, and then it should still work normally. But yeah, always check your printed parts before printing them if everything is correct. Yeah, but this model is cursed anyways. I managed to print in the rocket in here because I put them too tight on the plate, and now he has like a rocket in his back. But it gives the character charm. I already started with the base. We are making quite a chunky boy because my idea is that this will be cliffside, and here we go downhill. And for that downhill I will use adroit clay. For that I picked Das adroit clay. And Then I can place my miniatures like this. I think like he's like in a mid-falling position, like catching a Tyranid here, shooting him away, and maybe he's like standing there shooting, and I wanted to have like Tyranid crawl up from this side and from that side, coming from all the sides. And also with the Adderclay we can gap fill a bit, because this is just roughly glued together 4 pieces of bark with some cork, so it is somewhat the same height. And now we can like gap fill this and make like a nice slope downwards. Now the mountain is dry and yeah, pretty solid now, and it's also a bit heavier now. The idea for this is that it will not, of course, stay up looking like that, but I have like a grass sheet, and I was thinking of covering this part with the grass sheet, so we have like a nice grassy area and then the cliffside here. What I also did is starting to pin my models so I can achieve more dynamic poses. I was thinking he was like in the midst of falling over, and he will have like a Tyranid like pushing him here and some others somewhere else. But those I need to plan out. Next up I was thinking of priming this one and all the other models so I can get them painted. So, yeah, off camera, I painted the rocks with some dry brushing. Just whoosh, 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 dry brushing them. And you saw that one already on camera. What I also did was I hit it again with a second coat and like dry brushed some areas white, and then I brushed over them again just to give them a bit more interest, just not to have it like black and then green. I maybe need to get better at this. And also I tried to do like a mixture. I wanted to hit them red, but my inks are not really red. It's more like a pink, so I think I will just repaint it by hand. Sometimes the airbrush can't help me. But now I wanted to do first this base here finished before I finish the smaller ones. And for that we will use green flock. I got this from a model train shop. If people want to get it, it's called Notch. You mostly do it on your like train terrain, but we will use it for our terrain. I really like it. It has like a nice feel to it. And also it is a big sheet. I also use it for some bits of base, which is also pretty nice. You just cut it out and then glue it on. It doesn't have like a glue sheet like Gamer's Grass or anything. But yeah, that's pretty nice. So let's attach it. Now we have the sheet roughly in place. I just super glued it on. Works, I don't know. But with the magic, we just see, easy as that. We have it now cut the size. It's a bit wrinkly, but I think it gives it more life. And yeah, the grass doesn't really grow like this. But the rougher edges we can just patch up with some grass stuffs we have still flying around. So now that is done, we can turn our attention to our Sentinel and our Elder Walker, because he needs to be fully repainted and he needs to, I think, get mostly like only the metallics done and then probably an edge highlight. So let's get cracking. So I now have to paint some little Tyranids, and for that I devised a little scheme so that they will look like this in the end. And I will show you now how I do it. First we get some purple going, and I will just put that onto my palette, and then we take the comically large paintbrush, make it a bit wet, check the moisture, load it up, and then just start painting every part of the body. We don't really care if we hit the carapace or not. Now that we have purple primed our model, I will take some magenta or pink if you like, and take your favorite sponge. I pre-wetted the sponge, so I have already a bit of moisture in there. I'll just have a bit of it dabbed on, and you can always check against your skin how the consistency is. It's a bit watery, but that's okay. And then we just sponge that on. Now maybe I want a bit less paint on there. There we go. And we just sponge that on here. You can go here a bit wilder if you like, but just try to hit all the raised areas that you find. Also don't forget the head. And the bottom a bit, just so we have a bit of something going on. Something in the likes of this. And now we let that dry. Now that our magenta is drying, we can take some ultramarine blue that I already have here prepared. Load our brush up. I'm using a size 6 for that because we can still work a bit quick and rough. I will just hit the carapace with that. And also don't be scared if you accidentally paint over, because the purple and the blue are so close in the color wheel that don't really like matters and shows up much, at least as you are not going as wild as with the comically large paintbrush. There you have it. It's already blue. And there's also a reason why I chose blue. It's because my walker is green and my Imperial walker is green, my Elder walker is red, so I can make the Tyranids blue, and then I have all the base colors. And it has a reason why I painted it like that. You don't have to, but I like to have like different base colors in my paintings. Now that our ultramarine is painted, we can turn to some blue. The color is just called blue. It's just a lighter blue. It's not like the deep blue, ultramarine blue, haha. But we are doing the same as we did on the skin, but just only on the carapace now. So we take our sponge, that should still be wet, and just dab a bit off, and then just try to create some splotchy highlights with it. This step you can also repeat multiple times if you feel like it. So there is more of a coverage of it. I will mostly go over it one time because we will do it again with a lighter blue. But yeah, this is already making it pop a bit, if my camera is catching that. So now for our last carapace highlight, I am using like a mini sponge. It's like packaging sponge. It's the like stuff you get from like Forge World or from like some manufacturers. It's not like the bigger bathing sponge. I just put that into like a protection cap of the paintbrushes. And this is also a bit wet. And then we just take a light blue, or in my case, faded ultramarine, aka some ultramarine blue with ivory mixed. And then we just do the same as we did with our blue step, only like in a smaller area and more like on the edges of our carapace. Bam. That is it already. It is pretty quick. And if you like, you can now wash it with like a red wash, or in my case I used like an ink that I diluted with water. What I also recommend you with using contrast paints, if you don't have like a red wash, is to just dilute it very much with water, and it is then just basically a wash. And because those are already like pre-thinned, they already wash into all the nooks and crannies. For the claws, you can go with whatever you want. I like the black talon look, so I will just base coat mine black again. Or if you are painting a bit more neat, they maybe already be black if we don't really go ham with the comically large paintbrush. And then we can just take a bit of white and mix that with our black and make a nice gray color. And that we then will edge highlight our blades with. And at the end we will just create like a, what I would call a build-up. Okay, my camera battery died, but I finished the Tyranids. The finishing touches were I went over with some white over the edges, also into the eyes, and I used like a contrast paint that works with it. And yeah, they are all finished. I also off camera painted the walker and one time the Imperium walker and the Elder one. And now we can start with the layouting. I was thinking the Elder one would sit up here, and the Imperial one will be like in the midst of falling down, like here. That's why I also pinned them, so I can use a bit of a more dynamic pose. And then we just put down the Tyranids around